Hey everyone, welcome to the theamtake podcast. I'm Marv.
And I'm Amy, and we're two parts of this very awesome podcast.
Join us as we explore a variety of topics every week.
And this week, we'll be talking a little bit about us and how this show came to be. Stay tuned to find out how an extrovert and an introvert started this podcast.
So, you might ask, why a podcast? Why this podcast? Well, Amy and I were mutual friends. We both share very similar views.
We do.
However, we do have different takes on a few things. We share very similar culture as well as upbringing. But I was born and raised in the United States, and Amy was...
in Canada.
Yeah, she was born and raised in Canada as well. So that's a little bit different. So different perspectives, especially on current event, things of that nature. So yeah, how did we come to deciding on a podcast? Well, I mean, I figure it's a pretty easy medium, don't you think?
Yeah. And I mean, we already talk a lot with each other.
Yeah.
And the podcast is just a medium to record that.
Yeah. I agree.
Our conversations, and we have a lot of fun, and we bounce things off each other, and we might not always agree. Well, most of the time we agree on things.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. There's always disagreement, obviously.
Yeah, and it's just entertaining.
I would hope it is. Yeah, definitely. So, and it's always been something I've wanted to try out as well too. I do like writing. That's a part of my my history as well too. And this is just another extension of that, I think. The preparation, the talking, the conversations, how it flows, things of that nature is very, very similar to writing. You get your thoughts out. However, with this, as having another person, you can bounce the ideas off. You can find out if an idea is worthwhile, or whether or not somebody can assist you with something that you have thoughts on. Yeah.
When did you realize that you wanted to do a podcast?
I don't know. I think, I just thought that some topics you and I might have something to say about it.
Yeah.
And I've always found it interesting, especially our conversations, that depending on the topic, we have different thoughts, and, I may have a different approach to it, but you're definitely more calm in certain aspects. I'm the extrovert, you're the introvert. And for me, sometimes it's a lot of like 0 to 100 thought process, and then for you, you always bring it back down to earth and make me see the other aspects of it. So that's what I think.
For me, it would be okay. I've always had an interest in actually voice acting. Anything to do with
voice acting? Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I have
like for television, movies?
Okay, so I think when I was a teenager, I did enter in some sort of contest where I would submit a recording of my voice, and it would be 3 different game characters.
Oh, wait. Okay, no way. Really?
Yeah, and it was...
Wait, so do you remember the line? Can you tell us what the line was? Can you reenact?
No, I can't read. I forgot, and it was 3 different characters. It was an elf.
Oh wow!
And then two other characters, and they were the style of Maple Story, if you know what that is.
Oh, what? Oh my goodness! Yeah, that's very interesting.
Needless to say,
yeah, how'd it go?
I didn't win, of course.
Oh, okay.
It didn't go well because I was just a young teenager and I didn't know what I was doing, and of course, I had really terrible equipment.
Oh yeah, I imagine.
But this wanting to be a voice actress type of thing never faded away. I still am interested in that.
Wow.
And I remember
like still in the same kind of medium, or
look, I'm not actively looking for auditions. That's what
okay.
you mean? No,
sorry guys.
But hey, I remember, because I've been mentioning this a lot to my boyfriend, and he works in the game industry.
Oh,
And
Okay.
at some point, he took me to this Christmas party.
Oh.
And well, he's got
Wait,
this.
like a work Christmas
Yes, a
party?
work Christmas party.
Oh, okay.
And so then his workplace invited the sound guys,
Uh-huh.
and then there was this.
Oh.
I guess you can call him CEO, the boss of the sound, the music producers or
Oh,
whatever for
like
their games.
oh, okay, like the producer. Okay.
But they also take care of the voice actors, right? Like in their studio, they record all the voice actors. And so then he comes up to me and then asks me, so I heard that you're interested in voice acting. And I was just...
Wait, did you say something? Did you get in your best, voice acting mode or anything like that? Or did you just start laughing?
Well, first of all, I was very surprised because I wasn't
Oh.
expecting this. So I got flustered and he asked me to say something or to on the spot to voice act. And
like an audition
yes,
almost.
like an audition, like an impromptu audition. And of course, I was shy. I didn't know what to say. And so
Oh my gosh. Wait, did you say anything? Did you put on an act, I guess?
Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. For our listeners, can you muster up that memory and
I mean, I know
do
what
you
I
did
said, and it was absolutely embarrassing.
Okay, well,
because I don't think I sounded good. And
all right, well, we'll be the judge of that. So, are you ready? Should I do a countdown?
You're putting me on the spot now.
Okay. You've had a few minutes to think about it. So,
I'm trying to remember her lines.
Wait,
which is
her?
her.
Les
It's
Mis?
a character. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In
Do you
League of
remember?
Legends.
Oh, wow.
It's
League
a
of
game
Legends.
character in League of Legends. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, should we look up some snippets right now?
I think she says. I mean, you played the game before, right?
Very long time
Very
ago.
long time ago.
I do not play it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this character.
Was it Anna?
No, it's not Anna. Or you mean Anne, right? But
Annie, I guess. Yeah.
Annie. Oh yes, Annie. See, me too. It's been a while. So this character at one point, I think one of her lines is, oh gosh, I am nervous right now.
What? Come on.
Okay,
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
So, she says, "Let's put on our thinking caps."
Wow. That was awesome. Wait, did you was that exactly how you did it to the
Yes, it
director, I
was.
guess, or the producer?
Yes, it was.
Oh wow.
But
Did they was there an applause on it?
no,
Oh.
they weren't impressed with it. But it could also be because I was very flustered.
Oh, I see.
I mean, I still am, but
Okay.
but then he asked me to roar and to be kind of like a gremlin or some
Uh-huh.
type of ogre or goblin, and I tried it.
Okay.
Uh,
Can you
oh.
can you put on the show? Did you go R or like
I kind
roar?
of did because
Oh.
because he did it, and then he just told me to mimic him.
Wait,
right?
he did it?
Yeah, he did it, and because
Oh,
well,
that's
the
so
guy
nice
was
of
kind
him.
of drunk too, so.
Oh, okay. I see.
So so yeah, after I did that, I think I had I failed the audition, I guess, the impromptu audition. Didn't hear anything from
I
him.
think you did fine.
But then again, I think he was way too drunk to remember anything happened. I'm hoping he was.
I see. Wow. So, how long ago was that? Is that a few years ago?
Oh, yeah, that was a few years ago. That was
So have you been back since?
no.
Jonathan is her boyfriend, and
Yeah.
have you been back to a business I guess work party?
Okay, think I was invited. Well, they started not giving the plus ones,
Oh, okay.
but at some point there was a year where plus ones were still
I
invited,
see.
and I just told Jonathan to, hey, have fun, because when we get there, the plus ones, they talk about work, and that's all they talk
Oh, I
about.
see. I see. That
And
makes
it's
sense.
just,
Understandable.
yeah, the time that I went, I was just so bored.
Oh goodness. Let it all out.
So
Understandable.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, they're
Yeah.
very nice people, of course. They're very
Hmm.
fun amongst themselves. When pretty sure they're very fun. But I when you're talking only about work and I don't understand a single thing that you're talking about, and you're stuck there 4 hours, I don't know, 6 hours
Oh yeah.
sitting,
Totally get it.
and I don't drink,
Yeah.
so it is kind of boring. Um, yeah, at one point I took the car home.
Oh, what? Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, well,
Did you leave him
I
there?
mean,
Or was he getting right back, I
he
guess?
he was getting a ride back. Well, because
Ah, I see.
it's open bar, so
I see. Oh,
so
wow. That's
he
very
drank.
nice. Interesting.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and so
is
yeah, I've
this
always had.
is this the end of the line for the audio, the voice acting?
No, you know what? Like, a little part in me still hopes that one day I'll be able to voice act. I don't
Well,
know
I mean,
if that's
you
possible.
sounded pretty good as Lulu, doing
Oh,
her one line
hey,
in
you
League of Legends.
recognized
Yeah.
Lulu.
Yeah, yeah. I see. That's how good it was. Even I recognize it. Who don't even,
uh,
touch the game anymore. That's very good.
you know what?
Obviously, I'm not the person to judge that, but I mean, it sounded fine to me. So good job.
You know, the people who are listening to this, just let me know. Let me know how it was by emailing us. But but anyway, yeah, I've always been interested in anything that has to do with voice.
Mm.
And recently, I was looking into, oh, maybe I could be a narrator
Oh,
for audiobooks. Um, and then one thing led to another. I found myself actually starting a podcast.
oh,
And it was okay, but
oh. Wait. So you
um,
started your own podcast
yes,
with I guess
yes,
other people.
with
Oh, I
someone
see.
else. And now it was okay at the beginning because I had no
Hmm.
experience and I didn't know what to expect.
I see.
But then soon I found out that the scheduling was not sustainable
I see.
because they wanted 3 episodes uploaded a week, and
Oh,
I was doing all the editing work.
geez.
And
Well,
every episode was an hour long, an hour and a half,
oh
and it was
goodness.
just yeah, a little bit too much for me.
Well, I mean, just so you know, this is just gonna be once a week. So to let everyone know that,
Yes.
this is gonna be a weekly thing. Yeah, so it'll be very, very good for Amy.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
So I guess with audiobooks, have you considered a variety or what kind of genre you do? Because I know, like right now with TikTok and book talk, I guess is what they call it. Like
Mm-hmm.
smut books for
Mm.
women are very popular. I guess right now.
So,
I actually am currently reading one
mhm.
called A Crown of Thorns and Roses
Okay.
is what I'm reading. And it's very very interesting. So
Mm.
yeah.
So I was told
Hmm.
that my voice was suitable for children's book.
Oh,
What do you think about that?
do you mean like the Lulu voice or your voice
No,
right now?
no, like just my normal voice.
Oh, I mean, I'd agree. It's very calm. It's very, don't take this the wrong way. It's very childlike, I guess you could say.
That's what I've been told.
Um
That's what I've been told.
Youthful, I guess, is the probably the better term. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think kids with children's books can identify with that basically.
Yeah.
Is probably why they say that, I'd say.
And well, it's kind of narrating for audiobooks is it also involves voice acting, to be honest, because
Oh yeah, that's true.
when you say the lines of the characters, right, you have to put on different voices. That's always fun when I have to pretend to be a guy.
Uh yeah. How does Okay, do your best guy voice.
Oh
Repeat after
no.
me.
Okay.
My name is Marv, and I'm a man.
Of all things, you you
Go,
can come
go.
up with. Okay. I can't.
Oh,
Okay.
come on, you can do it.
My name is Marv, and I'm a man.
Wow. That's
Oh, that's
that was
perfect. 10 out of
beautiful.
10.
That was beautiful. You got the job. You got the job. Can't even tell.
Huzzah.
I thought that was me. Oh my goodness. Goodness. All right. Oh
Uh,
wow. That was very interesting. Thanks for letting us know about your voice acting dreams, Amy.
You're welcome. I mean, hey,
That
if
was
people listening are actually looking
uh-huh.
for a voice actress, I'm shamelessly putting myself out there right now.
Oh man. And so with that, let's Amy, why don't you talk a little bit more about yourself that is not about voice acting?
Okay. Well, I am born and raised in Canada, and I am Asian. I'm in my 30s, and I live in the province of Quebec.
Oh, is that the French
Mm-hmm. Yep.
speaking one? Oh, that's the one where you they look down on you if you don't speak French, right?
It's not
Right.
all the time. Some people
Oh,
do.
okay, I see.
I've
I see. Okay.
I've had experiences myself where customers would say, "Hey, we're
Oh.
in Quebec here. Speak French."
Oh
No,
my
no,
god.
for real, for real. And
Oh my goodness.
it's just ridiculous because it's this whole language preservation idea.
Ah,
And honestly, in my opinion, I think they're going about the wrong way
I see.
because it's very deterring when it's such a negative, aggressive.
Like experience, I
Uh,
guess.
yes, and
Mm.
there is a thing such as language police here.
Wait,
It's a thing.
language police?
Yes, it's a thing. Language police. So if you see any restaurants that violate the rules of not having the French language in the menu or the French language first in the menu,
Uh-huh.
or if the font size is not bigger than the English one, then you can actually call the language police and have them fine the restaurant.
What?
Yeah.
Oh
See,
my
that's why I don't
goodness.
like this
That's
approach. And
oh,
it's so
it's more of
ridiculous.
a punishment approach or a
Yeah.
negative yeah, I
Yeah, it's
see.
like ruling with fear. Who wants
Yeah,
that?
makes sense.
And it's so
Just because you can't speak French.
no, but it's so ridiculous. I've been to France and their stop signs say stop. They don't say arrête.
Oh,
Like
only
it's
in English?
yeah. In
Wait,
France.
so in
Yeah.
France, where French is the obviously only language, or the primate or the official language,
Yes.
they oh wow. But in Quebec, they have to have stop in French first
Yes.
and then stop in English. Oh,
Yeah.
on the signs, the
On the
road
sign,
signs.
on the sign, it says
Oh
stop,
wow,
but in French. Um.
that's
So
very interesting.
so yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. Listen, I understand the want to preserve a culture and language and all
Hmm.
of that. I really do, but this is going about the wrong way.
But I guess Quebec has its own culture, right, compared to France. Anyway,
They do. They do.
because it's not just a French culture; it's a French Canadian culture.
Yeah.
I guess it takes parts of both countries, right? So
Yeah.
you guys are pretty unique, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, the colonials,
Mm-hmm.
the pioneers.
Colonists,
Anyway,
I guess.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The pioneers who established their roots here a long time ago in France came from nobility, I
Oh.
guess, the upper class,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. And then, well, the upper class people had a different, not dialect, but accent.
Ah.
And it's the accent that we hear today in in French Canadians.
Oh, okay.
Now, the accent in France, it changed ever since the Revolution, I believe.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, the French accent that you hear today in France was from the commoners.
Oh, okay, so the French now speak what was seen as the common folk language or accent, but French Canadians are speaking what was seen as the noble accent before. So in actuality, people from Quebec were the ones who escaped the revolution, essentially.
Yes.
The irony, it's hilarious.
Yeah,
wow.
But it's so funny because to me the French accent from France today sounds so much more, I don't know, pleasant to the ears.
Oh, okay. Wow, really?
Yeah, it does. I don't know. It's
Is it? I know you're not voice actress anymore, but are you able to enlighten us with two different words that sound different in French versus French Canadian? Yeah. What's an example you can give us?
Oh,
Something simple or something very distinct that we can definitely tell. I don't think, know very French, but I can listen.
I think you'll be able to tell the difference better with the sentence, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
So
whatever you have to do.
Le lapin se sauve du renard, which means the rabbit flees from the fox.
Okay.
So this was French Canadian.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go again with the French Canadian French. Le lapin se sauve du renard. And in France, it would probably be like Le lapin se sauve du renard.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna get a lot of shit. I'm gonna get a lot of shit from the French because I probably really butchered that.
But it does sound more pleasant. You're right about that, though.
Hold on.
For sure.
It would be like Le lapin se sauve du renard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely more almost elegant than the French Canadian way.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I get it. Okay. Wow. I didn't think it'd be that drastic, but it definitely has a definite change to it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I gotta apologize. I gotta apologize to the French people right away because I feel like I really butchered the accent. I'm so sorry. Anyway, I tried my best. So yeah, I live in Quebec. I have a background in the medical field, and I'm quite the introvert. I like to crochet. I like anime. I like taking care of my little plants. I have a garden. I have houseplants. I like video games. I like cooking, and I like singing.
Wow, everything to do with a voice. Huh?
Yeah, basically.
Now you got a podcast.
And what about you? Let everybody know.
Well, I'm a mid-30s millennial. I currently work in IT for a private company. I work remotely currently. Interesting thing is I do not have a STEM degree. My degree is actually an English degree. I'm Asian American too. Born in the Northeast United States. Went to college in the Southeast, and I am now located in Central Texas. It's interesting, having been in such different locations. Texas does have its own culture, I would say. Very, everything's bigger here. It is like what they say. Everything's bigger in Texas. It definitely has its charms. It definitely has its ups and downs as well too. But at the end of the day, it's almost basically its own country. So I definitely get it when native Texans always talk about succeeding from the, from the United States, and I get it. It's big enough that it can run itself in a way. Yeah. So that's Texas.
Texas is the largest state, right? In America.
I should know that. I believe it is. It's either that or California or Alaska, but don't quote me on that. I forget if it's either one has more population versus the other, and one that has more actual land mass than the others. So I yeah, I should know that, but
Geography
I'm
is not your strong.
yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't my
Okay.
my what I studied.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I remember the first time that we spoke, and I was wondering, how come you don't have a Southern accent? You're from Texas. And
oh
yeah.
oh yeah. I mean, I grew up with a northern accent, specifically Rhode Island accent. And go from there, moving to North Carolina is where I went to school, and we got into North Carolina and went to high school there. The teacher, the English teacher of all things, she was speaking, and I did not understand a lick of what she said. I was so confused.
Yeah.
I was like, "Is this really English class?" I was like, "I can't understand this lady at all." Even to this day, the southern accent is very difficult for me, especially.
Oh man, I was gonna
where it has
ask
a
you.
really-
You had me do accents. I was gonna ask you to
No.
do an accent. It's
No.
only fair.
I could be like, "Hey y'all, where y'all going today?" Something like that. But that's very deliberate. So it's. I love the word y'all though. It's very efficient. In the Northeast, most people would say you guys, use guys and stuff. But in the South, you just get in the South and in the in Texas, you just say y'all, and that means you all, and it's very generic, and it covers any number of people.
Yeah.
And you can use to address people, you can use to explain something, it's just efficient that way. And so I love using that
Yeah.
word, whether in typing or speech as well too. And that's probably the biggest takeaway I have from the South, or the Southern accent, I guess you could say. But even nowadays, there's certain words that I can't shake the Northern accent. Like sometimes I'll say car, and sometimes I'll say car, just because it slips out, And then
Sounds more Australian.
oh no, it is definitely not that. I can tell
Car.
you that. Get in the car. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me. My hobbies include lots of hands-on kinds of hobbies. Working on cars. I love working on cars myself. Just being able to tinker with things along those lines. Computers, hardware, technology. I love to be hands-on, building my own computers, troubleshooting, things of that nature. Any sort of visual media, anime, film, documentaries, per se. Video games are a big part of my life as well too, growing up, especially in the technology phase of the 90s as well into the 2000s. I was fortunate to witness all that. Unfortunately, I was too young to partake in like Y2K or anything like that, but I still remember prepping my family computer for Y2K and things of that nature. And so that's been a fun time, and that's really shaped me in who I am today, as well as where I came from and what I look towards the future. With technology, I have a lot of skepticism, a lot of cynicism, but for me, I still think there's a lot of optimistic approaches with technology and uses for technology. Obviously, I understand that too much reliance on technology can be a bad thing. I mean, a la cars, I just feel there's too much, tech in cars today. I still prefer the low tech analog cars where
What, you don't like the self-driving cars? The thought of self-driving? iRobot? Come on.
I'm torn because I love technology and I love where it's going. At the same time, there's certain things I feel that too much technology to be. I mean, do you really need a smart refrigerator with a screen on the front, or a mirror on the front that can show you the inside of a refrigerator? I mean, all you have to do is open it, right? And
well, I mean,
yeah,
I mean,
and it'll cost like thousands of dollars purely because of the microchips that are in there, not because of a refrigerator. Yeah.
Well, I'm not talking about the self-driving cars now because there's so much improvement to
yeah.
do. But I'm talking about in the future when
if
every car is fully
and I'm optimistic about. I'm definitely optimistic about that. But I'm talking about like if it's bleeding edge, they put it everywhere when it's not really mature yet.
But how else are they gonna make the money though?
Yeah,
I mean, remember when USB keys cost $100 for like 200 megabytes?
Yeah,
storage?
That's I say that's just technology in general, because technology is always being reiterated on renovated on, or I mean, excuse me, innovated on, and
Right, but that's before the mass production phase.
oh, that's
Because
true. That's
once,
true.
yeah.
Yeah, you can say that, about cars as well too.
Mhm.
But it's always going to be something needed. But with technology, you can scale it so much because it's not always, it's not the size of a car, I guess you can say.
Mhm.
So you can definitely scale it. But as we get more and more tech savvy and more technology within our lives, wearable technology and things like that, I believe there's a concerning aspect in regards to like certain things like AI. How
Mhm.
much do we want to leave up to an algorithm or a mainframe or processor to do functions that we would normally do?
Mhm.
It's like watching the Jetsons. They had a robotic maid. They had
Mhm.
an automated kitchen. I mean, we're going towards that. But
Yeah.
there's certain things we still don't have, like flying cars. We don't have flying cars.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about technology where we're going with that. But for me, there's some things that if it's not broke, there's no need to fix it.
Mhm.
So I just feel like people are looking for every little thing to insert a microchip into,
Mhm.
which is, I think, unfortunate.
Mm.
Next thing you know, they're gonna have like a smart hammer. I mean, imagine that, something that's used to bang something, you're gonna have a microchip in it. It's
I mean,
weird, but I can guarantee you there's gonna be
no, but
a smart
how?
hammer where it shows you like uh
uh,
it'll show you like how much force you're using. So that's what
yeah.
I'm thinking.
I was gonna say, wouldn't it be cool to have an automatic screwdriver? But we do. It's called a drill.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, they do have, you have the drill with the removal of drill bits, and then you do have automatic screwdrivers, which
You do?
is
I didn't know
lighter,
that.
it's handheld. Yeah, yeah, there are. Yeah, it's specifically for screwdriving. And you can take the bits out too. It doesn't have as much torque as a drill,
Uh-huh.
and it's not used for drilling.
Okay.
It's only strictly used for
Screw it.
screwing. Yeah, screwing screws, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do have that too, and most of the time it's battery operated as well too. So
Oh.
like basically a lot of things you think of, I mean, there probably already exists a actual product or a concept of it basically. So that's also an interesting thing with technology is we're getting to a point where we're running out of almost ideas maybe.
I mean, I would like and love to see technology, not advancing,
Hmm.
um, but being very integrated in society, such that it makes the environment more sustainable, and
Yeah,
green energy and all of
and
that.
that's the hope, that's the hope. Like I remember when with the advent of technology during the industrial age,
Right.
there was talk that, oh, with innovative technology, productivity will be increased and less people will have to work.
Mhm.
Yeah, sure, less people work, but no one's benefiting. Those people aren't benefiting. It's going to be the companies that are benefiting. And that's true today with robotics.
Mhm.
Majority of manufacturing can be done with robotics. And so what does that lead to? That leads to layoffs. That leads to workers who used to work in manufacturing
Mhm.
plants having to go to a different industry
Mhm.
or to have to relearn skills that they've had for 20, 30 years or so. So that's the danger in it, I think, is because it's hard to basically see the impact of technology from all aspects,
Yeah.
you know? So, yeah. So, that said, technology is one of those things I do find fascinating. I do love to write as well, too. Poetry is one thing that
Mhm.
I've always gone back and forth between. Obviously, being an English major,
Mhm.
writing has always been ingrained in me, as well as debates,
Mhm.
um, things of that nature. I also like playing video games.
Mhm.
That was part of my youth and adolescence.
Mhm.
Having a Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, PlayStation, whatever you name it, I
Mhm.
had it, as well as computer games. And so it really taught me a lot, not just about achieving a goal or killing the bad guys or getting a high score, but storytelling. The
Mhm.
storytelling, vocabulary was very big as well too,
Yeah.
because say for example, a video game like Diablo 2,
Mhm.
you have all sorts of items and things of that nature, and it was very grim and dark
Yeah.
story. And so you had like certain weapons of certain types and things like that, and
Yeah.
you learn about these particular types that you think is just fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
but when you actually look it up, it's an actual item. And
Mm-hmm.
so they did model it after those things. So it was kind of a, I guess, a phonics, not a phonics, but like a almost like a dictionary game, I guess you could say.
I was gonna say it's
So that was,
yeah. I was
yeah.
gonna say for Jonathan, him playing these video games as he was growing up,
Hmm.
first and foremost, it got him wanting to be in the video game industry, and yeah, he's living that life. But also, he learned English from video games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he didn't understand a word of English before, and
Well,
in order to play the game, he had to look up the dictionary.
don't tell the language police though.
No. Right?
Did they call him a traitor, I guess? Did they show up at his
I
door and
don't
like, what are you doing?
I don't even think that back in the day, you know those Super Nintendo cartridges,
Oh,
Nintendo
yeah, yeah.
cartridges, I don't think there was like a French translation
Oh no, I don't.
uh
Yeah, they didn't.
thing. Yeah.
So the best you can do is buy like the EU version, which had like 5 different languages
Uh-huh.
that you can switch between. But obviously that was in Europe, so it'd be pretty hefty to import it to
Right.
Canada or the States anyway. But yeah, so yeah, with video games, writing and storytelling, that was a big part of my youth and adolescence as well, transitioning to an adult as well.
Mhm.
Beyond that, I do watch anime, a lot of the classic anime hold a special place in my heart. Beyond that, snowboarding
Mhm.
is a great pastime. I haven't done it for a few years, but I always think about it and think about hitting the slopes again. But at
I
this
mean,
time,
there's no snow in
I was
Texas.
gonna say I'm in Texas now, so I can probably try desert boarding, but even the deserts out here.
Aside for that time when Texas was
Oh yeah, we froze over like two
you
years ago.
froze. You guys froze like what, 2 years ago? Yeah.
Yeah, a whole weekend. Basically, the week of Valentine's. That was interesting. That whole
Oh,
week.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun time. Power is out and electricity is out for a week, and I thank God I had some friends who had a house that still had power and heat and everything and water. And so,
Uh-huh.
they picked me up in their all-wheel drive Subaru. Thankfully, granted my car wasn't gonna be able to get anywhere,
Mhm.
so they picked me up and I stayed with them for a week or so until power came back on at my apartment. And
Mhm.
so I'm definitely grateful for them for that. But yeah, snowboarding versus freezing, completely different things, even though they deal with snow.
Mhm.
And then lastly, exercise, and I love running, what we ran,
Mhm.
and then just working out in general, trying to stay
Mhm.
healthy as
Mhm.
as we age.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm the extrovert of this podcast. You might not be able to tell because Amy has been talking our heads off, basically. So that's been very interesting. She
No, but
does have
you're
pointed
the
stories.
you're the kind of person that would be able to go up to a random stranger and then just start talking to them
I don't know about that. Maybe I just have no shame,
and
I
then
guess.
no, but you're also like a photographer, and
Oh,
then
yes,
you'd
yeah.
ask them, "Hey, can I take a picture of you?" And then take a picture of them, and it's mind blowing to
That's
me
true.
because I
Yeah,
would never be able to do that.
you have to, yeah, I mean, photography, especially street photography, which is something I dabble in. If you see somebody interesting, obviously you don't want to just take a picture of them without them knowing. I always prefer to ask them. Most of the time, I'd say 90% of the time, people are open to it because it's always style for me. What they're wearing, if it's flashy, if it's out of the ordinary,
Mm-hmm.
or who they are. If someone comes out and they have a very, I guess for lack of a better word, loud, bright set of clothing on, or a dress, or something very striking,
You
I
want to
would,
capture the statements.
yeah, I want to capture that. Yeah, especially, and if they can pose for that, that's great. If they okay with me taking a casual, candid photo of them, that's totally fine as well too. And with street photography, sometimes you do take pictures of people, and sometimes they do request you to delete it, and I'm open for that.
Mm-hmm.
I explain to them why I took the picture, and if they disagree and they want me to delete it, I'll do it right in front of them,
Mm-hmm.
because they have the right to say
Of
no,
course.
which is fine with me. And sometimes people get hostile, but for me, it's just, you don't want it, that's fine. I'll delete it. It's all good.
Mm-hmm.
It's going on merry ways. No need to draw it out
Mm-hmm.
because there's no ill intent
Mm-hmm.
in what I try to do, I guess you could say. for me, street photography is trying to capture moments in everyday life, the mundane life as it is,
Yeah.
people as they are, and not always posing, not always full makeup or in the studio. To me, it's a little bit more natural. That way, you can see people in their environment, whether they're comfortable or not. It really depends on how you set it up. And yeah, yeah. But I guess you can call that, I guess, a strength of an extrovert is to be able to walk up to strangers and strike up conversations, which I tend to do very easily. I agree. Yeah. But for the longest time I didn't know I was an extrovert. You know that.
I know.
You told me I wasn't an introvert.
You
I thought for the longest time I was an introvert. But you made me take that MBTI test and I find out that I'm an extrovert and
the Myers-Briggs.
yeah, the Myers-Briggs, yeah. And so I accepted my fate, I guess you could say. Because you were very
Oh yeah, I
adamant that I
remember.
wasn't. Yeah, you were very adamant. I'm like, I don't think you're an introvert, Marv. I'm like, no, I think I'm an introvert. And then you're like, I don't think it is. You need to take this Myers-Briggs test. And I did.
No.
I'm like, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe I am an extrovert, you know? And yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
let's talk about how we met. I think that's an interesting topic.
Yes.
Very,
Definitely.
very technology based.
It is.
It was roughly 2 years ago.
Yeah. We met on Reddit.
Yeah, met on Reddit. There was a subreddit dedicated for making friends.
Yeah.
And at that time, Reddit had the subreddit chat rooms. And I was in one, she was in one. She was having a conversation about some medical event that was going on or a medical procedure.
Okay. So you know what it was?
Right? Yeah, what was it?
So I was working in a lab, specifically a microbiology lab, which means that we were testing the COVID samples.
Oh.
And we were doing so much COVID PCR that we were ill prepared for it, ill equipped.
Oh,
and
yeah, as most places were, yeah, at that time.
Yeah, definitely the protocols were not well polished. And aside for doing a lot of overtime, so many samples, because at the beginning, well, not the beginning, but the pandemic, when it hit the peak, so many samples were sent to the labs and we were backlogged by a lot, thousands of samples. So I developed a work injury to my left thumb. I couldn't use my left hand at all. So I was stuck at home and bored. And then I went on Reddit. And I guess I was venting because I was just.
Yeah, I think
I don't know if you remember the conversations.
Yeah, I think I remember. And then I had lost a few relatives to the pandemic as well, to COVID specifically. And so, I saw Amy, who her screen name at the time was very male, sounding screen name. So my assumption was that she was a male.
It was based on a game character.
Yeah, it was something Luke, I recall. Yeah. And so I just assumed it was a gentleman. And so I sent her a private message and I let her know that I was very appreciative of what she was doing and what he, quote unquote, and then was doing, and that I lost 3 relatives and I appreciate what they're doing despite all the during that time, there was very negative press about people in the medical field, especially from those who didn't believe in the vaccine or anything of that nature. And so I just wanted to make it known that there were people who were supporting their fight and what they were doing, testing, things of that nature. And so we got to talking about COVID and connected on that aspect of things. I talked to her about how I was at the time. I had left a very long-term relationship, so I was not in the greatest place as well. On top of suffering the loss of relatives that year, as well as my long-term relationship, so that was a lot to process at that time.
You were grieving a lot, essentially.
Yeah, that was to put it like that. It definitely was a lot of grieving that year. 2020 was not a good year for me, and so we just got to talking. Let me open up about everything basically, and we connected on that. And I brought up the fact that I wanted to go to a specific city in Quebec and I let her know that, and she was, oh wow, that's I live there. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh really? She's like, what's the occasion? Why are you going there? I'm like, oh, I'm actually going there for my birthday. She was like, oh, when's your birthday? And I told him when my birthday was. She's like, oh,
Do
okay.
you have the same birth date?
When is your birthday? Yeah, when's the date? I gave her the date, and she's like, wait, we have the same birthday. I'm like, what? No, this can't be right. Out of all the people, you meet random people on Reddit of all places, and she had the same birthday.
Mhm.
So we were birthday twins, which is pretty cool.
Mhm.
Obviously, not the same year, but same date, same month as well too. And so that was very exciting.
Mhm.
And me thinking this guy I met was like a blood brother, that I met randomly on the
A
internet.
brother
I was
from
like, yeah,
another
you're gonna
mother.
show me a good time. Yeah, you're gonna show me a good time. We'll go out and we'll have so much fun. You can show me a city. And Amy was like, "Oh yeah, sure, we'll do." Being the macho guy that she was, and we yeah we talked a little bit more, and then eventually she told me, she was like, "Hey Marv, I have a secret to tell you." I'm like, "Oh, what is it?" Me thinking I'm getting catfish, and I'm like, "Oh God, what is this now? Is it an American? They're not really Canadian, are they?" Turns out she was like, "Oh, I'm a girl." I'm like, "Oh, really? Okay, not a big deal." And then she was like, I only do this because generally I do this to avoid creepy messages and stuff. I'm like, "Oh
Well,
yeah,
okay.
I can't imagine."
In my defense, I never said I was a guy. Okay. He
I
he
know,
just
I know, we talked about
assumed.
this. Oh my
No, but the
gosh.
people don't know, so I have to clear my name. So in my defense, I never said I was a guy. He just assumed based on
Uh,
my username, which is fine.
if
It
your
that
screen name has Luke in it, I'm gonna assume your name is Luke.
Yes, that was my intention as
Gosh,
well. It's
would you? Oh my gosh, it worked. Okay, you happy about that? There you
I am
go.
actually.
Goodness.
But yeah, I
Gosh.
don't blame Marv for misinterpreting that because it was misleading.
And then to adding more to that, we were talking about upbringing, and we both had a very like immigrant style upbringing where focuses on education and getting a well paid job when you graduate from college.
Oh yeah, be a doctor or lawyer.
Yeah, doctor or lawyer. And I was like, wait, are you Asian by chance? She's like, oh yes, I am. I'm Chinese, Cantonese. I'm like, oh really? And then she was like, are you Chinese? I'm like, no, I'm not Chinese, but I am Asian. I'm Hmong American, and so I
Yeah.
definitely get where the same story. You have to be a doctor or lawyer, nothing else. And you have to make your family proud and all that jazz. And
Oh yeah.
it was very difficult. That's a very tough upbringing, and so we connected on that level as well.
Mhm.
That's how we met, and we've been friends since then. I actually visited Amy and her boyfriend 2021, I believe,
Mhm.
August, and stayed there for, what was it, 5 days, I think? No, 6 days.
Yeah,
3 days at your
about
place and 3 days at the hotel, right?
about.
Yeah, and it was a great time. I met some of her friends as well too, and everyone was really chill. And
Mhm.
I
I'm glad you had
it
fun.
was a great time. Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Mm.
Food was amazing as well too. Sights were amazing. It reminded me a lot of, like, I guess you can say Chicago, or
Mhm.
um outside of outskirts of New York City.
Mhm.
Very modern. Obviously, save for the French signs, but everything
Mm.
basically seemed almost like you were still in the States. So
Yeah.
it was familiar at the same time foreign as well.
Yeah.
It was a great time though.
Yeah, except for the part where you got locked out of your hotel room on the
Oh,
last
that's no
day.
big deal. That's no big deal. It's okay. I was I had a great time. I didn't want to spoil it, so I didn't
Mhm.
I didn't think too much about it. But I know you were, Amy. You were like, we need to get this figured
I
out.
mean, come
We
on,
need to go.
you'd be
You need to go
stranded.
in there and march. You need to march right in there and give them a piece of your mind. I'm like, I don't speak French, and then second of all, I'm a dirty American.
I mean,
I don't think they can.
they're hotel employees. They have to notice how to speak English because they
Oh,
get international
I
guests.
understand, but it wasn't that big of a deal to me. I just, it was the last day
Yeah, I
actually
mean, it would
that
be,
happened, and
to be honest, it would be a big deal if, say, you have 1 hour left before your flight
true,
and
true.
your passport was still in the hotel room and you're locked out.
I would have been fine just staying in Canada. It would have been fine.
Yeah.
would eventually become, a citizen or something like that, which isn't too bad.
Why not?
But yeah, so that's that's how we met,
Yeah.
and I do plan on eventually going again. Hopefully, once things calm down with COVID still, and then monkeypox and every other thing that's apparently shown up in the past 2 years. And so I do plan to visit again.
Yay.
Had a great time, and so yeah, would love to partake again. But yeah, I think that wraps it for our first podcast. Thank you to everyone for listening in. The future of this podcast, we're deciding on a variety of topics. We're going to be talking about things such as how people make online friends, online dating apps, what happened to people during the pandemic, what did they do, how did that affect their relationships. Eventually, we'll be talking about mental health and how that's affected people, whether or not they're in a relationship by themselves, in a marriage, outside of a marriage, things of that nature. Other topics include how to deal with friendships, situationships, whether or not you can identify a friendship as being toxic or a toxic relationship. So just a variety of topics that we can throw our opinions at, very informal as well too. And so if you guys have any topics or any concerns or questions, you can write to us at theamtake@gmail.com. That's theamtake@gmail.com. That's THEAM as in Mary, TAKE@gmail.com. And we'll go through it and read your mail and see if we have anything to offer for you guys.
Yeah. So thank you all for joining us this week for our first episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. We'd love to hear from you guys, so feel free to email us. We're excited to start this new journey, and we hope you guys can join us along the way. Thanks again for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everyone. And so for next week, we'll be talking about how the last 2 years and X number of months of the pandemic has affected us, and maybe what it's given us as well as what it's taken away from us. And how did we deal, or how did anyone deal with those things from COVID that may have affected all aspects of our life, and maybe what we've learned from that. So thank you again. Make sure to subscribe and check back in next week. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.